Okay, we shall start with the chanting. Om Bhadram Karnebhihi Shrunuyama Devaha Bhadram Pashve Yatraha Sthirairangais Tustuvag Shastanubhihi Vyashema Devahitam Yadayuhu Swasti na Indro Riddhashravāha Swasti na Usha Vishwavedaha Swasti Nastaksho Arishtanemihi Swasti no Brihaspati'r Dadhatu Om Shantihi Shantihi Shantihi. We are studying Mundaka Upanishad and we are now at the end of Mundaka Upanishad, the last chapter, having 11 mantras. So here, towards the end, Upanishad is eulogizing the fruit of knowledge, then some more practices, these helpful practices, and also what happens to a person who attains illumination. And these are recurring themes in the Upanishads. The Upanishads end with, as it were, Upanishad was over. These are prologue. We know in some stories or novels, even after they are over, the main novel is over, then we see a small chapter called prologue. Right? Am I pronouncing right? How do you pronounce it? Prologue or?
The prologue is correct, I think.
Prologue is correct?
Mm.
Correct?
Yeah. Prologue is at the beginning. Epilogue is at the end.
Epilogue at the end.
Oh, right. Thanks for correcting me. Yeah. Epilogue is at the end. Prologue is the beginning.
Beginning.
Right? Yeah. So we may think like, each Upanishad towards the end, it is like the epilogue. They have finished saying what they wanted to say, but now, again, as it were, it stopped and looked back and giving some more information or advices before ending. So in the last section, we saw that the Upanishad said, those who
Yam
worship
lokam manasa samvibhuti vishuddha sattvaha kam.
Okay. So in the previous verse, it was said that those who worship or adore an illumined person with desires, their all desires are fulfilled. Okay. So we should not take them as quite literally, because it appears that an illumined person can have indeed extraordinary power to make things happen by their will because of truthfulness. You remember truthfulness, because they are established in truth. So whatever even they say or even think, they come to pass. As it were, the whole nature then helps them, assists them in fulfilling whatever desires arise in their mind. But at the same time, we know that an illumined person definitely would not have harmful desires, right? So the idea was, even if you have worldly desires, come to an illumined person. As it were, they will fulfill your worldly desire. And the catch was, probably after having a few association with the illumined person, after some time, you will stop having worldly desires. But this verse that we are going to study first today, it says what happens to those who worship or serve an illumined person without any material desire. Without any material desire. They, what happens to them? They transcend. They transcend their human limitations or the problems, sufferings of human life. So that is the idea. Okay, so the previous verse was those who worship an illumined person, adore an illumined person with motive, with worldly motive. And this is about one who adores an illumined person, but without any worldly motive. What happens to them? Okay, so mantra 3.2.1. 3.2 is the last part of Mundaka Upanishad. Okay, the mantra is Saha veda etat paramam brahma dhāma yatra viśvam nihitaṃ bhāti śubhram upāsate puruṣam yehi akāmāḥ te śukram etat ativartanti dhīrāḥ. That illumined one knows this supreme Brahman, the ultimate abode, where the entire universe resides and shines, pure and radiant. Those wise and desireless ones who adore such an illumined person transcend human existence. Human existence. Okay. So what does it mean? So those desireless one, those yehi akāmāḥ, and they are dhīrāḥ. Those seekers, spiritual seekers, who don't have material desires anymore, they are called dhīrāḥ. Dhīrāḥ means wise ones. Literally, dhīrāḥ means the serene ones, the calm, serene, peaceful ones. It makes sense. It makes sense. The less desire we will have, the more serenity will come to our life. The desires are like the air which creates ripples on the lakes. Okay, when the air of desire is absent, our mind lake is calm and quiet. So these people are dhīrāḥ. And such people, if they upāsate, worship or adore or serve, whom if they serve an enlightened ones, puruṣam, then what happens? They nihitaṃ, they transcend. What? Etat śukram, this human existence. So there are two interpretations of human existence. One could be the cycle of birth and death. Okay, they don't have to go through the process of birth and death. Why? Because if they are desireless, at the same time they are having association with an illumined person, so naturally it is expected they, in the process, will also be illumined. And if they are illumined, then all of their previous karmas will be all burnt out. So they don't have to take any birth to fulfill their karma, to work out their karma. Another, those who don't like the idea of rebirth, they can take it this way, that such sincere seekers, such desireless seekers who have the company, those who adore or serve the illumined people, they transcend their human limitations. That is, our human life has so many good things, right? We enjoy our life, but there are some problems, sufferings, which are existential, which have no permanent cure. None of us here present can say that I have no problem. There will be always some type of problem. And as Swami Vivekananda said, that these are like arthritis, joint pain. That pain moves from one joint to another joint. They are never cured. Sometimes it is the ankle is paining, hurting. Then the pain moves to the knee. From there to elbow, it keeps on moving. So these limitations, these sufferings are present, which Buddha said. Buddha observed that no matter who one is, no matter how much wealth or other securities one might have, they still have some existential problems. One has to go through the old age, problem of old age, then disease, and then the death or separation of near ones. These are impossible to avoid. So, but those who adore, serve an illumined person, they can go beyond all of this because they find the infinite, find the fulfillment which is already inside in their spiritual quest as Atma or Brahman or God, whatever we say. The more we move toward that goal, the more we transcend our human problems. Or the problems may be still there, we are not much affected by them, I was reading a few days ago, someone was comparing our attention, attention at 3 levels. One is the spotlight. For example, now that we are having this class, probably all our attention is on the class, on the computer screen. This is a spotlight. Then there is daylight. Daylight is our day-to-day decision making, our introspection, our understanding, reflection. These are like daylight. But there is such a thing called starlight. Starlight is the stars, and those lights are not very strong, and we can ignore starlights. But starlights are like the ideals of our life, the goals of our life. And I was thinking that when we ignore the starlights, the pole stars of our life, then the problems of spotlight and problems of daylight become so overwhelming to us. But if we have the starlight, our starlight, our overall goal of life in view, if not all the time, but most of the time, if I am aware of my starlights, then these problems will still remain, but they will not assume such big problems compared to if we don't have any overarching goal in life. Okay. So such a person who does not have much material desires left and who is upāsate. Now, upāsate means it could mean many things. They adore an illumined person. They literally worship an illumined person. It might also mean, serve an illumined person. by any way that will help the person. And Swami Sardanandaji, in the life of Sri Ramakrishna, he makes one important insight. The insight is like this: for an illumined person, what happens to their karma? An illumined person is, according to the scriptures, the karma will no longer affect them. But what will happen that to those karmas which they already had committed, but they have not started their fruit. So he says that the people who serve or help an illumined person, they get the benefits of the good karma of that illumined person. And those who give trouble to this illumined person, they get all the bad karmas. Bad karmas of the illumined person. Okay, so whatever debts the illumined person had, in terms of debt, we may say, those will be now on the shoulders of those who gave trouble to the illumined person. And whatever assets, bank account that illumined person had, they will now be transferred to the accounts of those who served the illumined person. And you may not believe it, but I have personally seen it. It happens. It really, really happens. If those who probably don't have much other qualities, as such very common, as such very ordinary person, but had served, helped a great person in their field, they somehow get many good things in their life. So we may take it this way, that those who don't seek material gain, but just out of their reverence for the illumined person, they serve an illumined person, they get lot of good benefits. Benefits in the sense of their spiritual benefits. And even the last verse can be also be explained in this way. That suppose I am serving a illumined person, even with desires, but the illumined person becomes happy with my service, then even the material desire may come to pass as a result of the good karma of that illumined person coming to our account. Okay. Now, this is the second part of the verse. Okay. First part of the verse is, who is an illumined person? So, illumined person is one who has experience. Veda, veda, one who has experienced what? Brahma, the vast. Which is Brahma, the vast, the Atma, which is paramāṃ dhāma, which is the supreme abode. Supreme abode, that is the final destination for all of us, merging into the infinite. And which is bhāti śubhram, which shines brilliantly. Which shines brilliantly. That is, this Brahman, when experienced, it shines brilliantly. That is the universal experience of divine realization, divine vision, or atma-anubhuti, aparaksha-anubhuti, that something shining. Not only that, viśvam nihitaṃ, that is, as it were, it is the entire existence is merged on them. That is, the Brahma is the ground of the entire existence. So such a Brahma, which is vast, which shines brilliantly, which is our ultimate destination, and which is the ground of our own existence. Such a Brahma, and those who experiences that Brahma, they are the illumined puruṣam. And if someone who without material desire adore, worship, or serve such an illumined person, such a knower of Brahman, they transcend their human existence. Human existence in the sense of the sufferings of human life are minimized for them, and also in the course of their life, they have that ultimate experience which removes all their desires and all their karma, and so that they don't have to go through human existence ever. Okay, so they will be jivan mukta, and when they die, they will become vidheya mukta. And one is liberation while living, and vidheya mukti is the final liberation, point of no return. That will happen to such a person. So what is the takeaway message? The takeaway message is that serving an illumined person without desire, has immense value, immense value. Kāmāḥ is the important thing. Akāmāḥ, one who does not have any material desire. The next verse will speak more about the glory of desirelessness, that we shall see now. So, becoming akāmāḥ, desireless is just like dropping unnecessary baggage for the journey. Those which are keeping us bound, those which are bogging us down, dropping them is like becoming akāmāḥ or desireless. So more about this letting go of desires in the next verse, 3.2.2. Before we move there, do you have any question about this mantra or any idea?
Maharaj,
Yes, Arundhati.
this serving or adoring the
Illumined.
the illumined soul,
Mhm.
but you have to be illumined yourself in order to transcend human existence.
Huh.
So I'm a little confused.
Oh, what confuses you?
That just serving them can transcend. You can transcend, but that means they are illumined essentially.
They become
Yourself.
illumined by association or by serving the illumined ones.
Right. So
That's the point.
they have to be illumined. It's not
Yeah.
just a service.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that is the course of action. You know, that is what will happen gradually.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, Swami, does the concept of darshan come in
Dars-
here?
Yeah,
Does
darshan
that-
means to have a, to meet an illumined person. Yeah.
It's
But
not getting the
that alone,
energy from the person.
what energy,
Is
spiritual
it getting
energy.
the spiritual energy from the person, darshan?
Yeah, darshan, not merely darshan, there should be an receptivity.
Yeah.
For example, many people had seen Sri Ramakrishna. Many people have seen Holy Mother Sarada Devi. Many people have seen Jesus Christ. But does it mean all of them got illumination just because of darshan?
Uh-huh.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. One has to be receptive. That is the point. Upasana need not be service, need not be even worship an illumined person. It might also mean being open, being receptive to the guidance of an illumined person. Okay, that also might mean upasana. So many
Yes.
people might go and, oh, here is an illumined person, let us go. And going, but with a mind which is already full. Okay, not ready to hear at all, or ready to take for inquiry what the illumined person is telling us. In that case, it will not be upāsate. So darshan, the meaning darshan is to have a to look at a person, okay, to see. But there should be an attitude of receptivity. Then only it will bear its fruit. Otherwise, not. So,
Maharaj, question.
yeah.
How to recognize an illumined person? Because they don't go about advertising. Or those who advertise are not illumined.
Yeah. Yeah, illumined person. This Mundaka Upanishad itself has, you remember in the preceding chapters, it spoke about illumined person. That they are truthful and shanto danto, they are serene and brahmanishta. What kind of person one should approach? You know, the mantra was there. That Shotriyo, akāmāḥ. Shotriyo, that is one who has grasped the essence of the scripture. Akāmāḥ, those who don't have desires, desireless. That is, they are not instructing you in the hope of getting something from it. Okay, they are totally desireless in their day-to-day life. Shotriyo, akāmāḥ, and brahmanishta. That is, they are grounded in that spiritual reality. How can we find it out? That we can find it out whether someone is grounded in spiritual reality or not by seeing what they are interested in talking. What is the natural tendency of talking? You would see Sri Ramakrishna, no matter what the visitor is asking, somehow he is taking the matter in spiritual life or towards God. No matter what the topic of discussion, you will see that his tendency is to go toward God, connect it towards divine, connect it towards the Brahman. Okay, that means that person is grounded in Brahman. Okay, that is the one way of looking at it. In illumined person, naturally, they want to dwell on divine things. Or you will see they are more interested in dwelling on ideas than other worldly talks. Okay, what happened there, these, they may, occasionally they may speak of, but their natural tendency will be like moving to their center, which is the ground, which is Brahma. The Brahma. So this Mundaka Upanishad itself said how to find an illumined person. Shotriya, those who have good understanding of the essence of the scripture. And Shotriyo, akāmāḥ, they have less desires. Their desires are almost gone. For example, someone who is suppose giving this teachings about Upanishad, but also driving a Rolls Royce, and for Maserati, they have 4-5 Maseratis, have a private jet, and aspiring to have more private jets, and living in a penthouse, but speaking about spirituality, then we have to think about whether that person is Brahmanist or not. Okay. Yes, Mrs. Mukherjee, you wanted to ask you something?
Yes, Maharaj, the first line, that etat paramam brahma dhāma, yatra viśvam nihitaṃ bhāti śubhram. So here the abode, that word abode, dhāma, refers to the place where the all superimposed objects of enjoyment, because Jagat is superimposed on that Brahma. Then, but that is the Brahmalok. which is we are aspiring for. So what is the, I mean, how to realize that Brahman is not tainted by this superimposed Jagat and is not affected by this superimposed. So what is actually this Brahma Dhāma says here? I mean,
So I think you are probably following some translation from some book. Okay. So this idea Dharma has different connotations. So one
yeah,
is,
that's what I wanted to
yeah,
know.
you must have found out in some other book.
I found out in Bhuteshanandaji's book.
Yeah, exactly. So that is the thing good. I mean, there is no harm in that. So Dharma has got several meanings. And here, Dharma can also mean the abode, supreme abode. What does it mean? That which is our highest goal, which is our highest
Highest goal.
destination. Dharma is destination. Our place, our ultimate destination is Dharma. Turiyamte Dhāma. So Dhāma here, I have taken that meaning of Dhāma as our destination, ultimate destination.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Yeah.
Yes.
Any other question? I see raised hand. Lalita Bhattacharya. Yes, please go.
Maharaj, I mean, it's a simple question, but in the sayings of Sri Ramakrishna, it's mentioned that by serving the illumined person or, devotion, it helps you to seek a deeper path through bhakti and devotion.
Yeah.
So right discrimination. So do you think keeping company in, of such, spiritually inclined people, visiting the shrines, on a regular basis, attending these spiritual retreats, I think that also helps you over time.
Yeah.
Kind of this path. It's not so simple that it happens. It has to happen gradually.
Yeah.
And therefore, the service and devotion are very important. And this has been mentioned in the gospel and in the sayings of Sri Ramakrishna. So if you want to comment a little on that, it might.
Yeah, true, indeed. The whatever we said in this verse, it is just the reflection of the same thing. Okay. So if we don't get an illumined person, what to do then?
Yeah, and the will is important. Yeah, correct.
Yeah, and if we don't get an illumined person, then what to do? Okay, then we have to find out the seekers like me, those who are trying to seek. At least something is better than nothing. Okay, these also are help as we studied in, remember, Narada Bhakti Sutras. Narada gives lot of emphasis on Mahat Sangha, Mahat Sangha, and at that time we explain Mahat Sangha is not only a association with the holy or illumined people, but even holy books, holy thoughts, and even people who are little advanced than me in spirituality, or people who are at the same path I am in. That these are all various types of holy company. Okay. And here, the mantra that we just read, it spoke about the highest type of holy company. If we can have the right kind of mindset and an illumined person's guidance, then illumination is bound to happen. That is the point.
Swami.
Yes.
Hey, Swami, you're making me think of the Eightfold Path right now. Because our companions can help us with right view and right living.
Right living.
What we talked before.
Is there any term for right companion? Samyak?
Yeah, there is a word for holy company in Pali. And it's slipping my mind, but I will find it and send it to you.
Okay.
Kalimaya, it's about 4 syllables, so I'll have to look it up. But
right.
It's a very, very clear. I have a Sangha group, a Buddhist group on Thursday, and we are very clear that we are that for each other. And all of you are that for me today. So what you're talking to we help each other have right view and right living, moral living, and help each other along the path. So the Eightfold Path fits in very well with the journey we're all sharing. So thank you, Swami.
Right. Exactly. We need each other's encouragement, and so it is very much important. Okay, great. So let's move on to the next verse. Okay, the next verse is all about letting go. Okay, so don't be scared. Letting go really scares us. Okay. kāmān yaha kāmayate manyamānaḥ sah kāmabhiḥ jāyate tatra paryāpta-kāmasya kṛtātmanas yah eva sarve pravilyanti kāmāḥ. One who hankers after enjoyments and broods over those enjoyments is born amidst those very surroundings. But for one who is content and established in the self, all their desires dissolve even here. Okay, all their desires dissolve even here. So let us analyze this verse. Okay, let's go deeper into the verse. Very interesting insights this verse can offer us. So this verse identifies a normal person who is consumed by desires and continuously broods over them. So that is one thing, that enjoying all of this, but at the same time mentally going through them, dwelling upon them. This mental fixation then binds us to a cycle of pursuit and dissatisfaction. Bhagavad Gita says that dhāyato viśwaṃ pumsah sangaha teshu upājayate. So how these desires enter our mind? First, desires don't enter directly. First, dhāyato, we contemplate. We are nice here in these surroundings, and suddenly one thought comes, how about a bigger house in a better neighborhood? We see, an advertisement, almost at a price, we can get another house in a better neighborhood. And it's a bigger house, probably. At first, just a casual thought, an innocent thought. But that is what consumerism is all about. Then these thoughts, and then we shall go to Google. We shall search about that house. That is one. Next day, we shall go to the street view. That is pictures of the house. Okay. And a video of the house. Then probably we shall go for a drive to look at the house. So, and the desire is already taking shape. This is the basis of consumerism. That flood people with ideas or things they don't need, but create an artificial need in people's mind by targeted advertisement through different social media or inbox. People who purchase this also purchase this. So we go and click what people purchase, and this is how desire becomes stronger and stronger. So kāmāḥ ya kāmayate manyamānaḥ, those who desire things of pleasure as well as they dwell on them. It creates like a chain that keep one trapped in external pursuit, preventing inner peace. It is just like, scrolling endlessly through social media, searching for fulfillment in likes or comments, but we never get fully satisfied. We are scrolling down and scrolling, but we are never satisfied. Why? Because this desire, first of all, the desire to see all of these, and at the same time, dwelling on that, let me get more views or likes or comments. It creates an insatiable chain. Interestingly, recently they found out that in our brain, there are two pathways. One pathway, and they are independent. One pathway creates hankering, more. Its purpose is to create the hankering, more and more. Another pathway which makes us feel fulfilled, we enjoy something. And these two are not at all identical. That is why, for example, in addiction, what happens, the first pathway, we are wanting it more and more, irrespective of whether we are enjoying it or not. We may not be enjoying anymore the substance or the thing, but that pathway is making us hanker for this. That give me more of it, give me more of it. I am not probably enjoying the more of it. Even I am consuming more of it, I am not finding satisfaction at all. But the pathway, since I have nurtured that pathway, it is now wanting more and more. And that is one characteristic feature of addiction, that we need more and more of the same substance to get the same pleasure, same satisfaction. Sometimes even it is, I'm not even liking it anymore, but still I am hankering after it. Manyamānaḥ, kāmān, kāmayate. So it's a cycle. It's a cycle. And how to break the cycle? To be aware of that I am hankering more and more, even if it is no more giving me any pleasure. And addiction is a blown out example. But think about all of our other desires, more or less will fit the pattern. Even a new house, new house after 3 months, its charm is over. First month, I am happy with the house. Second month, I am happy to show my friends this house, how nice the house is. Now, then I appreciate the house through their eyes. From the third month, all the new furnitures and all effect has worn out. And so now I will be looking for something better, something better, a better house. This is what happens, kāmān kāmayate. So, kāmabhiḥ jāyate tatra. So, there are two interpretations to this understanding. One is, the more we seek something, and since human beings have so much of potential and power, what we do, if we seek something very seriously and very intently, most of them we can fulfill. We surround them ourselves among those desirable objects. Okay. And another interpretation is, such strong desires which we could not fulfill in this life, they will play on our minds at the end of our life. If we had strong desires. Not only that, they say that we have so many desires, all of them, culminate like a vector. In physics, there is different vectors, forces working, then there is a resultant vector. Like that, all these desires that I am harboring in my mind, they will become a resultant karma, desire, and propel me towards a birth where I can fulfill all these desires. In that sense, this part of the verse means, if we desire things and dwell upon them, then we find ourselves surrounded by all of the desirable objects, or we get a birth which will help us to fulfill our desire. In Bhagavad Gita, 6th chapter, Sri Krishna, Arjuna asks the question to Sri Krishna that suppose someone who was a spiritual seeker, a yogi, but they could not reach the goal, highest goal of illumination. What will happen to such a person? Then Sri Krishna says that don't worry. Such a person will be born into a family where from the very beginning they will find it's conducive for spiritual life. Yoga bhrashta abhijayate. Suchi nam srimatam gehe yoga bhrashta vijayate. So they get an opportunity. In the same way, if we have desires for, for example, they give the example, if we like to do so much of desire for enjoying things which animals like to do, then next birth will be an animal birth, which will help us to enjoy like animals. Okay. So that is the way. So both the ways. But if we look at, say, present life, we usually, then what happens is we are, who hanker after and brood over enjoyments are, metaphorically then we may say, they are reborn amidst the very surroundings of those desires. And this reflects how unfulfilled desires keep pulling one back into the same patterns of life, creating a cycle of dependency and repetition. But contentment is liberation. Paryāpta-kāmasya kṛtātmanas. A person who is content, paryāpta-kāmasya. And not only that, those who are established in the self, kṛtātmanas, they go beyond this cycle. So those who are content, they don't hanker after those things. So they have become free in this very life. And if they realize the spiritual goal of Atma, kṛtātmanas, what happens? Their future desires are also all abolished, gone, dissolved. All the desires then really fall off after realization. So what is, for example, Bhagavad Gita says, Vishaya vinivartante nirāḥarasya dehino rasa varjam rasapiyasya param drishtva nivartate. That is, I may become desireless, content with whatever I have. I don't crave for other things. But Bhagavad Gita says, this is also superficial. Okay. As long as the feeling of taste, the joy is there, we are not free from it as such. So, Vishaya vinivartante nirāḥarasya dehino. So, we are content, we are not seeking pleasure. It is we are not allowing our senses to come in contact with the objects of desire. But this is not also very safe position. Okay, because until param drishtva, until we find the real source of all joy, real source of all fulfillment, which is nothing but spiritual fulfillment, until that happens, then there are still the impressions of the, in seed form, the desires are still lurking in our mind. That's why they say that actually, even if we quit some addiction, but we are never safe. Even after many years, once we again taste the same thing, we may start again the same cycle. We may think that, 3-4 years I have been away from that substance. I am free now. I have quit it forever. I am free. I am safe. But they start taking once again, it may again take overpower us. So that is the point. So not only paryāpta-kāmasya. Paryāpta-kāmasya is our practice, our immediate practice, that try to be content with whatever we have. Try to be grateful for whatever we have, not seeking too many things here and there, which actually are against the peace of mind. That is one practice. But we have to remember, there is another part to it. The another part is get the root of the problem. Get the best thing which will quench our thirst for it. That is possible only through spiritual fulfillment. So, paryāpta-kāmasya means one who is content. That itself is a great state. But kṛtātmanas, we have to also realize our spiritual goal. Only contentment will give us peace of mind. That is not also the ultimate. It's a really very high state, but that also is not the ultimate thing. So what happens to them? They iha eva sarve pravilyanti kāmān. Their all their desires dissolve even here in this very life for those who are self-realized. It is just like akin to a clean slate, allowing for peace and freedom from mental agitation. So again, I bring the example of the calm lake reflecting the sky perfectly. When desires are like ripples are absent, the true nature of the lake becomes self-evident. Yeah, self-evident. Sarve pravilyanti kāmān. All their desires are dissolved. And this contentment, trying to be content, that is a skill. And that is like a muscle that we can grow. Gradually we can become more and more content. So we can prune off many unnecessary desires we are having. That is a great reflection, introspection. What are the desires we are holding? Let's take a look. Take a list of it. Take a stock of it. Write it down, and then find it out how many of them are really worth pursuing. How many of them will really give us fulfillment and satisfaction, and how many of them we are just seeking for the sake of seeking. And we also know that probably they would not give us long-term satisfaction. Okay, so we can start from there with small intentions, that how we can gradually let go of those desires which we know will not give us any satisfaction at all. Overnight we cannot become content. Overnight we cannot let go all of our desires. It is also like a skill, and like every skill, it can be practiced, and we can become better and better at being content. So how do we do that? By counting our grace, counting our whatever good things we have, and that contemplate on them. And secondly, keeping the starlight in our mind, starlight. If we lose the starlight, the ultimate goal of our life, whatever it is, not necessarily everybody will hanker after liberation, but some higher goal, any higher goal, which is unselfish goal. those type of goals, if we lose sight of, then all our mind cannot remain vacuum. All these lesser desires will take place. Lesser desires will fill the space of our mind. So the point is, if we keep our starlight alive, in the whole picture, then we'll see that it is easier to get rid of, let go of small desires. And then also we shall see spiritual life becomes so meaningful with a peaceful mind, with a content mind. All our spiritual practices also become much more like speed trap. Whatever we do with a content mind becomes much more effective. That is something we can think of in New Year, how we can let go of unnecessary desires or unfulfilling, or those which do not give us much fulfillment. How can we let go of them? All right. Are you ready to go for another verse, or is it enough? What do you think? Enough for today? All right.
You can get started.
What?
I think it's adequate for today.
Adequate for today. All right. Yes.
I mean, I don't know what the others feel. This is.
Others, a whole new subject is coming up, where the emphasis is on yearning. Yearning. The next verse says that although reading scripture, listening to scriptures, and having intellect to grasp the scripture, these are important, but none of them are sufficient in themselves unless we have yearning, real yearning for spiritual illumination. These won't help. Okay, so that is the next verse. Na ayam atma prabhachaneno labhyo na shrutaya na bahuna shruteno na medhaya na bahuna shruteno jamai veshe binute tenu labhyo. So interesting verse. Okay, then we shall take that in our next class. Why I was trying to do, because I am going to India in February, okay, on 5th of February. My plan was to complete this Upanishad before I go to India. But I also don't want to rush, okay, just to complete it anyhow, somehow. That is also not my intention. So it's okay to have 2 verses. All right. Any question about this last verse, or anything you would like to add to what we have discussed? Yes.
Swami, can you hear me?
Yes, Betty.
Oh, so does the next verse contradict the verse that we just had about serving an enlightened person? Because
no.
there was the implication that we would become enlightened.
Yeah, true. The next verse will say, all of this will help only if the desire for spiritual liberation is present.
Okay.
Spiritual fulfillment is present. So the point is, if just mechanically I am going to an illumined person, and because Upanishad has told, so I am going there and serving that person, but I personally have no desire for spiritual liberation. In that case, will it help? And what will happen is, after a few days I will stop going if I am not motivated enough. Okay, but if we have the motivation, spiritual motivation, then we shall keep on going to a illumined person. So they are not contradictory to each other.
It's interesting to think about if you're serving an enlightened person only because you're hoping that you too will become enlightened, it's not a good motive.
No, it is a better motive than to have material desires. Is not it a much better motive than to gain something materially from a holy person?
Okay.
Suppose someone goes to holy person to get fame, name, because many person come. It happened. Many people used to come to Sri Ramakrishna because they found that many eminent people of Calcutta used to come to them. So they found if we go, we can meet many people who are difficult to meet in their offices. But if we go to Sri Ramakrishna, in that house, in that room, they are easily available. We can take advantage of our connection, So, and suppose those who used to go to Sri Ramakrishna to listen to the love, the spiritual discussion, they also had a motive to get spiritual something from Sri Ramakrishna. But among these two desires, between these two desires, which desire is better for spiritual life?
Okay.
Yeah.
But there was an attraction, a pull. If you have that yearning, there's the attraction and pull to serve someone who's enlightened.
Yeah. That is the point. That if the motivation is not present, then nothing works. In fact, they have found that why most of the New Year resolutions fall apart. Because we're making the New Year resolution, but we are not sufficiently motivated. Okay. And that's why. But if we are very much motivated that I want to be the person in future, which this habit will make me be that person. If this kind of motivation comes first, then we stick to the resolution. Okay. Just the resolution or habit performing only that sometimes may not work. And they have found out now. Earlier they used to think that it takes 21 days to form a habit, and which has been debunked. It may not. It might take sometimes on an average some of the habits, and depending upon the person, and depending upon the type of the habit, it might take sometimes up to 254 days to make a habit. So one has to be sufficiently motivated. Almost for a year it might take to form a habit. Some habits and some type of people, For example, they have found out that if you really want to do workout daily, then you have to work out 4 days a week for at least 6 weeks. 6 weeks. Then it might form a habit. Similarly, many habits are much more complex and much more demanding. 21 days are not sufficient. You have to remain motivated for a longer period of time. So again, that what it boils down to, that do I yearn for how much I want that habit to be part of my life. All right. Thank you so much. See you next week. Okay. Let's say Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Have a good weekend. See you next week.